Good afternoon, my name is Liam Neal and this is the MU Review, the place where I talk all things Manchester United in the world of football, and today I'm here to talk about Manchester United's 1-1 draw in Russia for the first leg of our Europa League last 16 match against FC Rostov. And I didn't review the game, the other 1-1 draw we had against Bournemouth, not the 50,000 we had before that. I did review those. I did not review the most recent 1-1 draw with Bournemouth, partially because it was my friend's 21st birthday and I was a bit busy, and the other part because, well, I didn't watch the game, also because of the aforementioned 21st birthday, and the third part because, holy shit, I was too pissed off to re-watch the game, to watch the highlights. I just haven't looked at anything from that game other than the goals and obviously the Ibrahimovic-Mings incidents that everybody's been talking about. So apart from that, let's just pretend that game never happened, and let's talk about this other 1-1 draw, which was a slightly better result, or we came away from this 1-1 draw with a much better feeling than we did the 1-1 draw before it. So, all this talk about 1-1 draws out of the way, Manchester United and Rostov, we got an away goal. That's the really important thing. It was a rubbish pitch. It was a Sunday League standard pitch. I don't know how UEFA allow them to do that. Like, I get that they're in a really cold climate that can have some brutal conditions, not ideal for growing grass, but we were playing on sand. We were playing beach football for most of that game, and surely if a team like Sutton United can afford to have a 3G pitch, a team like FC Rostov, one of the top teams in Russia who is in the Europa League, should have a 3G pitch or should be required to play their games in Europe at a better stadium, because that was just ridiculous. But that being said, I can see why they got scouts against teams like Bayern Munich and that in the Champions League, because it's just impossible to play there, and I don't think it reflects the quality of that team at all. I think that they just played the pitch and that's how they got their results, and that's how they got into the Europa League. But with that being said, we worked the goal very well, the first goal. Marouane Fellaini with Velcro on his chest had a good game today. He was actually my man of the match, believe it or not. Much maligned figure at Man United. Really sort of channeled his inner Zinedine Zidane for a second, brought it down on his chest, shimmied, played the ball into touch or to the byline where Ibrahimovic did superbly, considering he's just had a bit of a bad press week, what with, getting the 3-match ban for essentially assaulting Tyrone Mings, and, the controversy over him getting a shorter ban than Tyrone Mings did for stamping on his head. That's a whole other issue. He really rose to the occasion, as he has so many times this season. Did great footwork and great physical ability, as you expect from Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Slots it in, and who's there at the right place, right time? Mkhitaryan. It was really a Juan Mata goal, that kind of goal, because that is the goal that Juan Mata scores for Man United. He just pops up in the box where somebody's, played the ball across. He did it against West Ham earlier in the season. He did it against Southampton last season. That is a Juan Mata goal, but Mkhitaryan was the one who scored this one. I've always said that Juan Mata is essentially Mkhitaryan without pace, so the fact that we've got Mkhitaryan now means that Mata has somebody of his level in terms of creativity, and somebody who can play those really easy goals, be in the right place at the right time, I should say. Not an easy goal, but a tap in once you do all of your other things correctly. So we had the 1-0 lead, and I was disappointed that we didn't continue the momentum and didn't score more and really put the tie away, because obviously going into next weekend, which is such a huge Premier League game with Middlesbrough, we want to be able to rest people, but we're not going to be able to now because Rostov did equalise. So even though they didn't win the game, which they could have, later on in the match, we had to really pull off. We got a bit lucky at the end, I'm not going to deny it. But we really do, we obviously now have to put out a very strong side against them again next week to finish the job off, because a score draw with one of the, even at Old Trafford, or a 1-0 defeat is not out of the realms of possibility, and we do not want to be going out of the Europa League. That would be an absolute disaster for our season at this point, especially with top 4 looking more difficult with every 1-1 home draw we have. So we got the 1-1 draw here, and for once that was actually a satisfying result. Obviously would have liked the win, but away from home on a pitch like that, best you could ask for. Professional performance. Fellaini got my man of the match, as I said before, and it'll be interesting to see how we go into the game with Chelsea on Monday now. Previewing this next game against Chelsea, it's Sunday now, so tomorrow, I don't know when I'll get the video up, but it's Sunday now as I'm recording it, and it seems as though everybody in the world has decided we're not going to get through. And don't get me wrong, it is going to be a phenomenally difficult cup tie. It's the most difficult match in England at the moment, is going to Stamford Bridge with Conte and Chelsea playing the way they are. But hear me out. The way that football seems to have worked in the last couple of years, at least from my vantage point, and I know this is a very, selective thing to say, but every time everyone seems to go one way on something, say, no, Leicester can't win the title, Leicester aren't going to get relegated, no, this isn't going to happen, and everybody sort of agrees that it's not going to happen, almost like with Bournemouth last week. Nobody was United fan or not, everybody thought we would turn Bournemouth over, and we should have turned Bournemouth over. We had an extra man for 45 minutes. We had the lead in the first half and gave away a cheap penalty, and Zlatan Ibrahimovic had a penalty saved. Everything was going in the direction of us turning Bournemouth over, but it just didn't happen because sometimes football does that. And for whatever reason, the more that everybody tells me United are going to get turned over, United are going to lose 1-2, 3-0 against Chelsea, got beat 4-0 in October, they're going to lose again, the more I think we're going to win. And I'm not saying we're going to go out there and play them off the park like Spurs did for the first half of their Premier League match with them earlier this season. I don't think we're going to do that at all. I just have a funny feeling that we're going to squeak through. Maybe that's me being optimistic. Hell, let me be optimistic. I would love us to carry on into the semi-finals of the FA Cup, especially with Spurs, Arsenal and City waiting for us. Could you imagine a Manchester derby and a North London derby in both of the semi-finals? That would make people care about the FA Cup again. That being said, I do understand and appreciate the fact that this is going to be the toughest game of the FA Cup. If we win this, or whoever wins this, I do think has a huge chance of going on to the final. But it's not like these last few years in the Cup, where all the big boys get bumped out early and there's one sort of large team like Arsenal and us, even last year, you know. There's one big team left that sort of sweeps all before them. And even then, it's not convincing, you know, like Arsenal needed extra time to beat Reading a couple of years ago. We needed extra time to beat Palace in the final, you know. But now we might actually have we're guaranteed to have an extremely competitive Final Four in the FA Cup this year, whether Chelsea or United get through. I obviously hope it's United. And, even if we get drawn against Spurs or Arsenal, the possibility of having a derby in the final is just such a great thing for the competition. So I'm very excited, and I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that we can go there and at very least not get turned over, because if there's one thing our season needs right now, it's momentum, and we can't lose a game. We lost a game against Hull in the EFL Cup, and that was the last game that we've lost since that 4-0 at Stamford Bridge in October. And the only reason that kind of got swept under the rug is because we still won the tie, so even losing the game didn't matter. This game is such a must not lose for me, or such a must not get hammered, because I really do think that the psychological boost of going to Stamford Bridge and not getting beaten, even if we draw 1-1 and lose in extra time, or we lose on penalties, or even if we lose 1-0, the kind of momentum that we could potentially get, or the kind of boost we could get from going to a place like Stamford Bridge and playing well and giving them a good game, regardless of the result, is something that we need moving forward, especially when we've got a big game against Rostov on Thursday to get through to the quarterfinals of the Europa League for what I believe would be the first time in our history. And we have that huge game against Middlesbrough the following Sunday, who are going to be a parked bus at the Riverside, and we're really going to have had trouble breaking down those kinds of teams this season. So we need a boost. The last thing we need is to go to Stamford Bridge and get turned over 2-3-0. So I'm hoping for a good game, I'm hoping for a competitive game, and obviously I'm praying for a Manchester United victory, because if we could actually go to Stamford Bridge and win, even if it's scrappy, even if it's on penalties or in extra time, if we go and beat the league leaders and knock them out of the cup, that will put everybody in the dressing room right back in the winning mentality that we have developed very carefully over the last few months. The Bournemouth result was a big setback, much like the Hull result was a big setback at the start of last month. But after the Hull result, we went on and won every game for the rest of February. If we can recover from a bad start by drawing 2 games on the bounce to win every game for the rest of March, we are right back up in there. And I'm really hoping that that's what happens. I know that this has been a bit of an odd video. It's not really so much a review of the game against Rostov as it is a preview of the next game, and even a review of a game that happened over a week ago now. I'm sorry I've been a bit all over the place. I'm sort of under the impression that no one really cares when my videos come out, because let's face it, nobody does. But that being said, if you do care, let me know. Like the video if you've enjoyed it, comment if you've got anything to say. If you want to complain about me not getting the video out on time, please do that. It will make me more likely to do it, to get it out on time in the future. And please subscribe if you haven't already, it would make my day a lot better. Thank you for watching, see you next time.